Talk to me about your level of excitement for Super Bowl LV. Are
Yeah,
are you stoked about it? Like, how are you feeling?
yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's one of the best Super Bowls that we've had in a little while. Matchup wise, I think there's matchups all over the field. But I really think this game is going to come down to Tom Brady versus the Chiefs defense. Simple as that. If Tom Brady has his way, I think the Bucs win the game.
Wait. Are you saying that Tom Brady has to compete against the Chiefs defense in order for the Buccaneers to win? That's how you figure that
Hey, look here, man.
the Bucs are going to win the game if Tom Brady competes against the Chiefs defense?
What would I do without you?
I don't know. That's amazing analysis out of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything that intrigues you about this Chiefs defense? Because their secondary is really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, with Tyrann Mathieu back there, and obviously they have some injuries on that defense in Kansas City that is going to hamper them pretty significantly. But I don't care what anybody says. Tyrann Mathieu is a game changer. He is a guy that shows up in the biggest games. How confident are you that Tom Brady can compete against this Chiefs defense, Jake?
I'm confident. I'm very confident. I think that he's capable of putting up 30 points in this game, and I think that if he's able to do that, they're going to be in a good place. That Packer victory, I keep leaning on it, but it really spoke volumes about this offense. The idea that you had 30 seconds left in the half, you were leading the game comfortably, and you still were committed to scoring before going into halftime. I mean, just tells you where this team is at mentally, and I think they're ruthless. They are going to give you everything that they can give you. They're going to score at every chance they get, and they will not let up. And I think it would be great for the league to see the Bucs win this Super Bowl. Not only for Tampa, not only for Tom Brady, but for the league. And I think the more the league changes, the more it stays the same in the sense that the same old names are competing at the end of the year no matter what team they play for. And I do think if you go back to when Tom Brady initially left the Patriots for the Bucs, the conversation was, hey, like, what happens if they don't make the playoffs and they flame out in his first year? Well, we're at the Super Bowl now, so we can't say that anymore. What are we going to say when Tom, as an underdog, a big-time underdog, goes out on Sunday and wins this thing? Because that's what I'm really having trouble with when it comes to picking the Chiefs, is the idea that we're going to pick against a guy who's got 6 rings, a guy who is playoff proven, a guy who's clutch. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to beat defenses. And that's why I'm saying the recipe to beat the Chiefs is to simply possess the football on offense. Simply keep Patrick Mahomes in the offense on the sideline. Because if they're on the sideline, they're not scoring touchdowns. And if you see that this Sunday, the Bucs will win this game.
Well, I think what's going to be interesting is the running game as well, because I think to win this game, and my phone's already blowing up with "you're an idiot, Monty" for Super Bowl picks, I'm sure. But what's interesting to me is that if the Bucs are going to win this game, they're going to have to control the clock, because you have to keep Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You have to keep them off the football field if you're going to win. And just looking at some of the metrics, I do believe this is the best quarterback matchup in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've ever seen a more prolific 1-2. The guy that's won the most Super Bowls going against a guy who won the last Super Bowl, who arguably, and I'm not even sure it's arguable at this point, Jake, but Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes and Brady through the first 3 years as starting quarterbacks have almost identical numbers. It's spooky how legit Patrick Mahomes has been. But when I look at the way that these running backs are playing right now, and Edwards-Helaire is an absolute difference maker. I love him as a playmaker. I love what he brings. But I look at Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. Mm-hmm. Leonard Fournette has done nothing but step up. Ronald Jones, obviously, Rojo with the quad injury. We've seen that impact his ability in the long runs. So he's really turned into more of a short yardage, 5-6 yard running back.
Battering ram.
Yeah,
that's what his role is.
But that's who Leonard Fournette is as a football player, is a battering ram. Now, Fournette's turned into the guy that you can throw the football to. He fights it. He's not the prettiest wide receiver out of the running or receiver out of the running back spot. But Leonard Fournette's been very, very, very effective during this playoff run, and they really needed that with Ronald Jones having this quad injury. I think that's been a big deal. And when I look at what the Chiefs bring to the table, I don't feel as good about the Chiefs running game, even though Edwards-Helaire has been unreal. I mean, 4.4 yards per carry, 1,100 total yards is incredible. But I love the way that Leonard Fournette has stepped up, so I give the running back nod to the Bucs.
Yeah, and I think too, when we talk about play action and the effect that that's going to have on this game, both guys love to use play action. I mean, Kansas City is not scared to just run the football until they feel like it's time to try to go deep on you. And I think Tom Brady's made a living on play action. Tom Brady, again, talked about on the show briefly yesterday, the only reason Tom Brady's still standing back there playing in the NFL is because he's done a phenomenal job of not taking punishment over the course of his career. And how do you do that as a quarterback? You run the hell out of the football, and then when you're done running it, you fake the run and you pass the ball. Play action. And that keeps the defense on its toes. And so, yeah, I would agree with you that early in this game, they will try to bring the Kansas City linebackers closer to the line of scrimmage. And once that happens, then you're going to start to see the intermediate routes take over. And so my biggest thing here, there's a lot of ways you could look at this game, but just to simplify it for the average fan, like, if you see the Bucs with the ball a lot, if they have a 10, 12-minute time of possession advantage on the Chiefs, this game's going to be close. Now, conversely, going the other way, let's not kid ourselves and say that Kansas City is not going to come out firing on all cylinders. I mean, this game could easily be like a 40-30 kind of game, like where the Chiefs get out to a 10-point lead in the first quarter. Bucs are playing catch up the whole game. I mean, we could see that too, but I hope that it's a lot closer than that.
And I think it will be, but I think, again, when you talk about explosiveness, I look at this wide receiver matchup, and I know I've been talking about this all week, but I think Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are really, really good. And yes, I put Kelce in the wide receiver room. I mean, the way they use him, sure, he lines up at the tight end, but he is not your prototypical. He's not even Rob Gronkowski worth of tight ends.
No.
He is a wide receiver. He's got freakish athletic ability for the position. And Travis Kelce's a guy that's an absolute weapon. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, if the Chiefs are going to win, he's got to have a big day. The problem for Kelce in this game is there's speed all over the place in that Tampa defense. And his ability has been linebacker versus Travis Kelce typically goes to Travis Kelce. But when you look at, Devin White or any of the other guys, Levante David, any of those other guys that are going to be attacking the quarterback or the tight end here, they're as fast, if not faster, than Travis Kelce.
Yeah, and they're not intimidated by him either. I think a lot of defenses in the league will get intimidated by big-time tight ends, like Travis Kelce or any of the other big names in the league. And this Bucs defense is not scared of anybody. And I think, I don't know, there's just something that is not going to allow me to just outright pick the Chiefs in this game, because I don't think that Tom Brady and this team got this far by just on like pure talent, and then all of a sudden they're going to run into the Chiefs and be outclassed. I just don't see that.
Right, sure.
Like I think this is a team in the Bucs that again, have a lot of veteran playoff experience. So they're not the moment for the most part is not going to be too big for these guys. It's just going to be a matter of how can they come out and get on the board on that first possession? Because that's really the thing here. Like with Tom Brady, if you notice, like a lot of their games after probably week 6 or 7, their first possession, they're going out and scoring a touchdown. And that pretty much sets the tempo for the game. So will that happen? If that does happen, I really like their chances, but you can't. The biggest thing you got to avoid here is getting down by double digits to the Chiefs. If that happens, this game's over. And I don't care if that's in the first quarter or otherwise. There's no way that you're gonna go down 10-0 or 21-10 and then be able to claw your way back into this thing, because that the Chiefs are just way too powerful to be in that position.
Well, yeah, and I absolutely agree with that, and I also think it's going to be hard for the Chiefs to do that because I think you look at the offensive line of Kansas City. Fisher's a huge loss for them. And I look at the way Ndamukong Suh is playing, and I actually think he's playing really effective, smart football for once.
Yeah.
And so it allows other guys on that Bucs defense to do things. And when you let that Bucs defense play fun, fast football, frankly, I think you're in trouble. I look at Suh, V to V has been, I think, a really unheralded player up front for the Bucs. I think Vita's played very good football. I mean, JPP is back, and I know everybody wants to joke about, he blew his hand off. Cool. That was, but seriously, how many years ago was that? And this guy is playing.
It's probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, point. I mean, he's playing unbelievable football right now.
Yeah.
Getting after the quarterback, that makes a huge difference. I look on the other side of that defense, and you just see that guys like, Shaq Barrett, he's had a huge impact on the opposite end of JPP. Mm-hmm. He has allowed this defense to be much more aggressive.
Well, look at the Packer game. I mean, they got after Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
I mean, literally, like, the entire game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was getting dominated at the end of the game, and really that line. I mean, it's not Aaron's fault, but the offensive line for the Packers got just tore up by this defensive line from the Bucs, and so I don't know. I mean, if you think about how that could affect, like, Patrick Mahomes loves to roll out, right? Like, one of the most dangerous positions for Patrick Mahomes to be in terms of defending him is when he rolls out to his right, because when he rolls out to his right, you've got Tyreek Hill, you've got Travis Kelce. And you've got many other guys who are running across the field with him, and it's almost impossible as a defense to stop that. So my point here is that with the defensive line, if they can stay disciplined with their coverages and keep him in the pocket for the most part, they're going to be in a good place, and their athleticism should allow them to do that.
Well, and Antoine Winfield looks like he is practicing. He is, of course, he's limited with that injury, but he and Antonio Brown look like they are both going to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you can't tell me Antonio Brown's missing the Super Bowl.
I mean, it has been a thing. I mean, Antonio Brown's had a pretty significant knee ding or issue or what, that we don't know exactly what that is. But, I mean, I think Jordan Whitehead and Antoine Winfield are really important to that secondary.
Yeah.
The Bucs defense needs. Whitehead is a guy that not many people have talked about.
Dude.
But, I mean, he brings a certain physical style to that secondary, and we saw that, I guess, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
With the shoulder injury when he or 3 weeks ago now because of the bye week. He delivers that hit.
Yeah, and he lit that guy up too.
Yeah, but the downside of that is that he was injured.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they got into the Super Bowl without him, but he's a huge difference maker. If Winfield Jr.'s not healthy, that's a huge loss for that defense.
I mean, I would think that Whitehead will play. I would think that Whitehead be able to play. Winfield, I don't know. I mean, I could see him being kind of limited. Like, he'll suit up and everything, and he'll get some snaps, but you can't tell me he's going to be 100% for the game.
No, I don't know, and I think it's a real big ask just trying to find. Like, I was reading about this, this morning. Both of them looked really good in practice. I mean, just reading the recaps, they both look like they're going to go. And if that's the case, I mean, the chemistry in that Bucs secondary,
it's for real.
It is. I mean, they really feed off of each other. I am leaning Bucs in this game. Having delved into. The secondaries I still maintain go to Kansas City. It's just a matter of who's going to play and who's not.
Do you think they can turn Patrick Mahomes over? Do you think the Bucs defense can create extra possessions?
That's been very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Frankly, Patrick Mahomes doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I mean, their turnovers. Mecole Hardman has been the guy that's been turning the ball over.
But here's where they're not. When I say, are they going to turn him over? He's not throwing an interception this game. I mean, unless it's garbage time and he throws one up or something. That's not happening. What I mean is, if you look at, when the Bucs have created turnovers, they create turnovers when you're trying to run for extra yards. They're punching the football out. They're hitting you low. I mean, they are really. they're defensively, they've been coached to be cognizant of the fact that, hey, even if he's got the ball tucked, punch it, like hit it, like put a helmet on the football.
Well, but when you talk about Patrick Mahomes turning the ball over, I think you have to consider this offensive line in Kansas City. It's just decimated by injury. They have been a patchwork plug and play offensive line for a good part of this season, and now that Fisher's out with what did he do? He tore his Achilles.
Terrible.
They have one guy who started the season in week 1 on the offensive line. Like this defense is ready to go. They're thirsty. They're hungry in Tampa. I think this is where the game's going to be won and lost.
Right.
And when you talk about turning over Patrick Mahomes, my question is, he's got this turf toe. He has taken more hits in the last 3 games than I think he took the entire season. Now you're going up against a defense that's really fast.
Yep.
They're really physical. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a very, very difficult day.
So, real quick, did you hear about this whole thing that happened with the Chiefs in this barbershop? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, with their barber having exposure to COVID-19.
So the barber gets tested, right?
Man.
And he didn't know what his results were. He was just working, and the Chiefs were going to have about 25 guys go and get their hair cut.
No, bro. They were at the barbershop already. And they were in line at the barbershop. The barber is there and gets the result of his test as positive, and everybody had to bail out.
And Mahomes was there. Like, everybody was there.
I mean,
dodging bullets, dude.
Again, my only question is, how is that even possible? If you're the National Football League, how do you let that even get close to your
I don't know,
Super Bowl
dude.
teams?
I don't know. Like, that's from an NFL perspective, from like a league perspective.
I'm amazed.
Like the front office of the league, you're talking about the product on the field. Like, you're talking about potentially. I mean, again, you can make an argument, but like, this is one of the best matchups we've ever seen, dude. You know, like, ever. And the idea that Jimmy the Barber almost ruined that because of COVID is just, I mean, that's crazy to me. But the fact is they were able to get out of there. They were able to escape the pandemic.
This is ridiculous. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
It is. It lacks so much vision.
Well, and a lot of people were asking yesterday on Twitter, like, why do they need to go and get haircuts? People need to understand that Super Bowl week is like a huge thing.
No, what people need to understand is culturally, locker rooms are really fragile. And when you have that many guys, when you have 53 dudes, and usually it's about 70 dudes in an NFL locker room, you have to do team building things. You have to form relationships. One of the things that they all do is they get their haircut.
Yeah.
And in the black community, the barbershop is a really important foundational piece of the black community.
Yeah.
And when you talk about unity and teamwork and team building, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I have no problem with them getting haircuts.
No, I don't have an issue. People were just saying like why did they have to go and do that in the middle of a pandemic? Like, people were questioning like the logic behind it. And it's like, well, it's really simple. The problem here is not the Chiefs. The problem here is the barber.
No, yeah.
The league should have made like 100% sure that this barber was clear, and they clearly didn't.
Which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to picking this game, because the fascinating thing is I think all of these position groups go to the Bucs. I'll give the Chiefs the secondary edge. I'll give them Travis Kelce at the tight end. Other than that, I look at linebackers. I'm taking the Bucs. D-line, I'm taking the Bucs. O-line, I'm taking the Bucs.
Running game?
Taking the Bucs. Wide receivers, taking the Bucs.
Total package wide receivers, yes, but Tyreek Hill, he will be a problem.
He's fast. There's no doubt about it.
Problem.
How many touchdowns does he have in the postseason?
I don't know.
0. Because they're zoning him. They're not going to allow him to get behind them.
Bro, he may have 0 touchdowns, but he went off for like 200 yards.
He has. I think he has 289 yards and no touchdowns in the postseason.
It's a lot of yards.
It is. He's an effective weapon.
Yeah.
But teams have figured out how to keep him out of that 75-yard
big play.
play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Chiefs are favored by 3 points in this game. The number has moved all over the frickin' place. It's at 56 right now.
Yeah.
Which is a huge number, right? I think, in my mind, the Bucs are winning this Super Bowl. I want to say that this is 37-34, 37-31. I think the Bucs are going to win a shootout. I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining Super Bowls we've ever seen, and I think Tom Brady gets number 7.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Bucs, but I think it's closer than that. I do agree it's in the 30s, so my pick's going to be 34-31. Late game drive, field goal situation to win the game. And I think that it's going to go back and forth. I think this is going to be, I agree, I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining Super Bowls we've seen. I think in the past, there have been some Super Bowls that have been absolute duds. This is not going to be that. I would be really surprised if they were not both in the 30s.
I feel comfortable at 37-34, and I'm going to take the Buccaneers. I think Tom Brady is going to ride a defense that will allow him to stay on the field longer.
Yeah.
And I think, frankly, Antonio Brown...
Is this... Well, I guess this is a different conversation, but is this a redemption moment for Antonio Brown on some level? Like, going to the Super Bowl... not being a problem this year, because he hasn't been a problem this year. I mean, he's dealt with injuries, but everybody deals with injuries. He hasn't been the classic Antonio Brown that we've all come to understand him to be. So if he has the 70-play down the field big yard, 70-yard play, is that redemption for him? I don't know, but I think he's got a hell of a lot to play for.
Well, but you got to remember that he's Tom Brady's guy. Like the only reason that Antonio Brown's a Buck is because Tom Brady said he wanted him there.
Right.
And he stuck up for Antonio Brown. And AB's been hurt, and that's been an issue. And he hasn't, frankly, been the same wide receiver he had historically been throughout his career.
Right.
Because he's been on the sideline a lot. That's what happens when you throw furniture over apartment high-rise railings. He's just had so many off-field issues that trace all the way back to that locker room Facebook Live thing he did with the Steelers. He's just not been able to find a home. And so I think this is a really critical performance for him. This is if Antonio Brown plays a key role in the Bucs winning the Super Bowl, it's legacy saving for him.
Yeah.
He will always now be known as a wingnut off the field.
Right.
But damn, he balled out.
Yeah.
If he balls out in the Super Bowl. I think Tom Brady, I trust guys like Rob Gronkowski. I mean, they've been there together.
What about Mike Evans? What do you think of Mike Evans?
Well, I would think that the 2 weeks off has really helped him.
I would hope
he has been battling physically for months. So I would think these 2 weeks off help him.
Yeah.
He's a big game player. He's a guy that I would throw the football to in every situation.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin's got to catch the football. I mean,
I don't know what happened to him, dude. I mean,
but he's been awesome in the postseason, with the exception of 3-4 balls he should have caught that he didn't.
The Packer game, one hits him in the face, and then he makes that incredible 40-yard catch down the field. So my pick is 34-31. Bucs are winning this game. I do think it's a late game situation. I do think it's a field goal to win the game. But I do think it's a shootout. Totally.
Barry says it's ridiculous. Come on, you can do it. Barry says it's ridiculous. You guys are leaving Periscope. Stupid. Okay,
dude, Barry. This is not rocket science, my friend. We don't have a choice. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, it's not like we're saying, hey, hey, here's the bird, Barry. We're leaving it just because we don't want to be there anymore. They're literally turning it off.
Barry's on Periscope. Dude. We're leaving Periscope.
They're literally turning Periscope off. Take it up. Go to Twitter court and beef with them. It's not on us, man.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel,
The
Monty
by the
Show.
way.
Monty, The Monty Show. He says, as usual, you two idiots don't know anything about football. Yes, the Bucs will win, but it'll be 6-3 in a field goal shootout. Okay. LOL. Okay, good. I was going to say, if that's going to be a serious comment, come on now. Will, who says, I listen every day now. Thanks for that. I agree. Tom Brady's too much to overcome. Patrick Mahomes is good. Tom Brady's great, as you always say. Well, there's a difference between good and great, and it's not much, but it's significant. So agree with that. Good to hear from you. Brent says, have a hard time picking against the Chiefs. Even if this is a home game for the Bucs, with no cannons